5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P.
You think you can make it all the way through there?
I don't know, man. I may have forgotten some of those.
A, B, C, amen. Okay, Doctor,
all right.
as always, this is your show.
All right.
So what we'll do, we'll
okay,
rip
pick up.
background information.
Okay.
That'd be the first 6 minutes.
Okay.
And then that second minute, we're going to talk about the status of race in America, part 2.
All right, that's good, yeah.
And so you've got all of that information that you know, because I don't have anything to add.
Okay, yeah. Okay. You can interject, yeah.
And then we'll do that. We'll run through that second segment and then that third segment.
Okay.
You know, and we'll get organized as we go.
All right, sounds good.
The first segment will determine what we can deal with.
Okay.
That's that 8-minute segment.
Yes.
And then after that, we'll determine what we can deal with during that 10-minute segment.
All right.
All within the framework of race, the status of race in America. And I think
all right.
the information that we got the last time was very, very important.
Yeah.
It sort of gives a sociological view.
That's right.
In terms of what we mean when we talk about race
right.
in America. It's been a rush day for you.
Yeah, it has been. You know how it is at the end of the semester. So we're getting close. Another week.
Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is the status of race in America, part 2. And we have with us to talk about the status of race in America, Dr. EKSanford from Tennessee State University. And Dr. Sanford, let me welcome you again to the show. And I think that many of our audience will, many members of our audience will remember when we talk about the status of race, part 2. And one reason we wanted to do this was because the information that you gave us dealing with the status of race in part 1, and of course we did not designate it as part 1, but there was so much information, and it was so much information that we felt that you felt constrained in terms of delivering what you thought we might want in reference to that. So we decided that you should come back and to give us some additional information in reference to that. And let's start off by having you to give our audience some information in reference to your background, your education, and some of your experiences, and then by that time we'll get into the second segment, and then we'll talk about the status of race in America, part 2.
Thank you very much, and I'm delighted to be here again. I am, again, EKSanford, a professor of Tennessee State University, Department of Sociology. I do it in reverse. I did a postdoc degree, which I think is going to be very relevant to our topic today, on health and wellness at the Penn State University in Pennsylvania. State College, Pennsylvania. Prior to that, I worked in Washington, D.C. as I completed my doctorate degree at Howard University, which I did my topic on the homeless elderly, looking at social inequalities within the society in which we live in. But I worked on a victims assistance program with the D.C. Superior Court, looking at victims assistance. And And I also worked with the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives, and we also had a victims' crime assistance plan of action throughout the United States. And these were chiefs of African American police that throughout the entire country. But prior to coming to Washington, D.C., after spending 10 years there, I was in North Carolina, my alma mater, at North Carolina Central University, where I did my undergraduate degree and got my first master's degree in sociology. I also did some work at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill, at University of Michigan, and I'm very proud of being one of the 25 scholars in 1995 that was selected to go to Harvard University to look at movement history, hence very much related to our topic today.
Very good. And so you've had an opportunity in a real sense to look at the status of African Americans or the status of race from many points of view, sociologically. You're talking about health and wellness and some of the issues that we're dealing with today, incarceration and et cetera and et cetera. And so that's very, so what would you say that in reference to sort of bringing our audience into what we talked about the last time you were here, how would you do that, bring them into our discussion?
Yes, I think to try to connect part one to this one, I think we have to reiterate the notion that race is such a fundamentally a part of the social structure, meaning every institution that make up our society, we find that it is so much a part of the culture that has been ingrained in the very fabric of our society. And as a result of that, it becomes fuzzy to many when we are just born in it. It's almost like a language, something that's just there, and you don't even realize that it's happening. But sociologically, one must contextualize, we must operationalize that this social construct of race because it is so present within our society. Now, if we visit another country, let's say if we were in Norway and just met someone and we walked up to them and said, hello, how are you? And they speak to you and say, well, what are you? And they would say, well, I'm Norwegian. But when you're in America, they have this social construct of race where they have put people into categories. And it's been that way since 1619 of enslavement for 244 years, leading into Jim Crow laws, leading into civil rights laws that had to come about to try to bring about a change. So presently, it is still so ingrained that those categories got meaning that people actually act accordingly. So we have to recognize it so that we can hopefully have a much better and humane society to bring about laws, bring about change that have been gradual, and we all have excellent evidence that improvements have been made. But I think on the surface of it, we have to understand, or let me just go beyond the surface, beneath the surface, the covert racism that is still present today still needs to be addressed, and we have to understand it.
And so in a real sense, we're dealing with an issue that everybody is familiar with. Everybody know about race, but nobody really knows, very, very few people really understand race when we talk about race. And we're going to take this first commercial break, and we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. With incarceration.
Okay, that sounds good.
Because I think that's one of the one of the burning topics today. And so if we can deal with health and wellness of African American, well, you know, the impact that it has upon race and et cetera.
That's right.
And then doing that final segment dealing with incarceration, policing and et cetera. And that impact of race within that context. And I think that'll be excellent information.
All right.
Two great bodies of information,
that's right.
I think, You didn't have any problem making it over here?
Oh, no, not at all. It's always a straight shot from TSU.
It is.